Hey everyone, welcome. It's Debbie Hatch. I am going to talk today about one of the new laws just signed by President Biden yesterday. A lot of it having to do with changes to retirement. There are 7 major changes that are going to be taking place with retirement once we start 2023 and beyond. Some of them not taking effect until 2026, but as it was just signed yesterday, and a lot of people are dubbing this Secure 2.0, with 1.0 being passed back in 2019, there are some things that I wanted to talk about. So, welcome. I'm Debbie Hatch, the owner and CEO of Pinnacle Personnel Services, providing training to federal employees about their retirement, their insurances, Medicare, Social Security, and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So first, a little bit of a recap for some changes that are taking place in 2023. We've already talked about in different videos that don't have anything to do with this new law, just to kind of bring you up to speed. First of all, pay raise for federal employees going into effect January 1st. Most people getting 4.6%. It is 4.1% for those getting a raise with a 0.5 for locality. So that's going to be different depending on where you live. But that's coming in January. I want to make sure to mention the fact that that does not change the high three unless you're going to be continuing to work through that year. So a lot of times people will say, hey, there's going to be a raise in January. Is that going to affect my retirement? It isn't. Your high three average salary as a federal employee is what drives your pension. So that's prorated though. If I am working on January 1st and there's a pay raise, yes, it's going to be included. But let's say that I stay for just a day after that pay raise becomes effective, then that new pay is going to be divided by 360 days, which is the number of days in a work year. So it's not, I don't get credit for that whole year of pay. I would get credit for that one day at the additional pay rate that I was working. If I work for 7 days, then it's 7 divided by 360 to get my proration and multiply that by the new amount. So again, I want to mention that because a lot of times people think that if they stay for the pay raise, it's going to count as one full year, and that's definitely not true. So pay raise of 4.6% for those people who are still working for the federal government. Those people who have retired from the federal government, instead of getting a pay raise, are looking at a potential for a cost of living adjustment. COLA for those federal retirees under CSRS, or the Civil Service Retirement System, the old system, is 8.7%. Under FERS, the Federal Employees Retirement System, which we call the new system, if the retiree is eligible for a COLA, it's only going to be 7.7%. And I say if eligible because not everybody who retires under FERS is going to get a cost of living adjustment. It is applicable only to those people that retired under special provisions, which includes federal firefighters, law enforcement officers, air traffic controllers, or to those who retired under a disability from the federal government, or to those people who are at least age 62. Those are the FERS retirees that are eligible for a cost of living adjustment. Again, that's 1% less than what the CSRS retirees are seeing, and that 8.7 or 7.7 is a maximum because COLA in retirement is actually based upon the number of months the person was retired in the previous year. So it's prorated. If I was retired 6 months in 2022, then I'd get 50% of whatever the cost of living adjustment was. If I am retiring on December 31st of 2022, congratulations, that's tomorrow, the most popular retirement date for federal employees. If you're going out, that's awesome, I'm thrilled for you. But you will not be receiving any cost of living adjustment come January, because in order to get that, you had to be on the retirement rolls last year. So I want to mention that. Again, it's something that a lot of people don't understand. Okay, more changes for 2023. The amount that you are able to contribute to your eligible employer account, things like the thrift savings plan for our federal employees, increasing up to $22,500 regular contribution. That's what you can put in there. It does not include the automatic 1% that you get from the government as a first person. It also does not include the matching contributions. Those are on top of these numbers. In addition to the regular contribution, federal employees who are going to be turning 50 or older in this calendar year, 2023, will be allowed to contribute up to $7,500. It's $6,500 this year. It's going up to $7,500 next year for catch-up, coming from the person, but again, you've got to be turning 50 or older. IRA contributions, these are traditional IRAs outside of the federal government, increasing by $500, going up from what has been $6,000 to $6,500. The catch-up for traditional IRAs is remaining at $1,000, which is what it has been for the last little bit. Those of us who are paying into Social Security pay in through a tax that is called OASDI, or the Old Age Survivor and Disability Insurance. It's 6.2% of each of our paychecks, but up to a certain amount of dollars, which change each year. The taxable income limit for 2023 is going up to $160,200. And if you're paying into that OASDI payroll tax, you are earning credits or quarters towards Social Security benefits. It will take you $1,640 in pay to earn one credit or quarter for this coming year. We can only earn up to 4 quarters per year, regardless of how much money we make, but it's $1,640 to get one of those things. If you are drawing Social Security retirement under your full retirement age, or if you retired from the federal government under FERS, the Federal Employees Retirement System, and you're getting the supplement, there is an earnings limit. That earnings limit is increasing to $21,240 for this coming year. Those are wages from a job. So retirement income is not going to count against that. Neither is interest or dividends or capital gains or any of that kind of stuff. Again, we've talked about all of that previously, but since we are ending up this year tomorrow, I wanted to recap that for you. Now, primarily what I wanted to talk about is this new spending bill. It was actually signed by the president yesterday. It's $1.7 trillion. It does include 7 major retirement changes, in addition to a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm definitely not going to talk about. One of the things that it's changing is requiring employers who offer a workplace retirement account to automatically enroll new employees. This begins December 31st of 2024. So any company that has an IRA or a workplace retirement account will be required to automatically enroll new employees when they bring them on board. They're required to sign them up at least for 3%, up to a maximum of 10%. The employee can then decide whether they want to change the amount that they're contributing, whether they want to disenroll from the program or not. That's completely up to them, but by default, they will be automatically enrolled. This is not a change for federal employees. We have been automatically enrolling federal civilians since August of 2010, and we have been automatically enrolling military members since January of 2018. So this change is for private sector employers. It is not changing anything for our federal employees. One of the changes in this new spending bill does allow employer contributions for student loan payments. This takes effect December 31st of 2023. Now here's what this one's all about. If I'm paying off student loan debt, it can be very difficult for me to also save towards my retirement. So this provision says that my employer can now match what I'm paying in student loan payoff to my retirement account. So I am essentially paying off my debt, but also being able to save something for retirement, which a lot of people who have been paying those student loan debts haven't been able to do. So that's what that one's all about. We do see an increase in age for the required minimum distribution, or RMD. The required minimum distribution is when the Internal Revenue Service requires us to start drawing from our retirement savings account. And these are traditional. If we have Roths, we do not have to pull that money out. Our beneficiaries do, but we don't. But if I'm doing a pre-tax, like traditional TSP or traditional IRA, then right now it has been, once I turn 72, I have to start taking a distribution. We look at my account balance effective December 31st of the previous year. We look at my age, we find my actuary factor or life expectancy, and we divide my account balance by that life expectancy in order to compute my required minimum distribution. Prior to Secure passing in 2019, we had to start RMDs when we were 70 and a half. Secure changed that to 72. This new law is changing that to 73 in 2023, and it's increasing it to 75 in 2033. So in 23, it's going up to 73. In 33, it's going up to 75 when we have to start our required minimum distributions. I do want to mention that if I have a workplace eligible account like my TSP, required minimum distributions are either April 1st of the year after I turn that age, or April 1st of the year after I leave the government, whichever is later. So even though it's going up to 73 in this coming year, if I'm still working, I don't have to begin my RMD until April 1st of the year after I stop working. Doesn't matter how old I am. Now, if you are already 72 and already doing your required minimum distribution, this is not going to change for you. You are still required to do your RMD. If you're already doing them, you are still required to continue to do them, but otherwise you can wait until you're 73. And again, 10 years from now, that's going to go up to 75. One of the changes in the new spending bill do allow us to do emergency withdrawals from our retirement savings accounts, up to $1,000 a year. Now, we've always had the ability to do this under something that was called hardship, where we self-certify that we're experiencing a financial hardship. We could pull the money out. We have to pay taxes on the withdrawal, and if we were under 59 and a half at the time, in addition to paying the regular income tax, we also were required to pay a 10% penalty tax. We saw them loosening this up as we were dealing with COVID. People were able to do those hardship withdrawals, having to pay no taxes, no penalty, and they would have up to 3 years to put that money back. As long as they did, then they didn't have to pay anything for it. If they didn't put that money back, they have 3 years over which they can spread their tax consequences, but they only paid regular taxes. Again, we did away with that 10% penalty. This new provision is allowing people to withdraw up to $1,000 every year for emergencies. So it does have to be some type of self-certified emergency. We do have to pay taxes on that money when we pull it out, but we don't have to pay that 10% penalty regardless of how old we are. And just as we saw with COVID, now it's going to be across the board. We have up to 3 years to put the money back into our retirement account if we want to. Remember, we did have to pay taxes on it when we pulled it out. So if we replace it within that next 3 years, we can get a refund of the taxes that we already paid. But in no instance would there be this 10% penalty tax here. So that's what that change is all about. Increased catch-up contributions coming December 31st of 2024. Now, catch-up, you heard me talk about that a couple of minutes ago, currently allows those people that are going to be turning 50 or older to put the additional $7,500 into their TSP, an extra $1,000 into their IRA. For this contribution, December 31st of 2024, in addition to being able to do that once I'm 50 or older, if I'm 60 to 63, I can put in even more. Here they're saying up to an additional $10,000 or 50% more than whatever the catch-up contribution is for that year, and I can do whichever's greater, that $10,000 or 50% more than what the regular contribution is, whichever's greater, as long as I am 60 to 63. Now that comes in December 31st of 2024. A year earlier, in order to pay for some of this, they say that if I have an income that is over $145,000, I can do this additional catch-up, but I have to do it through Roth. They're looking to get the taxes, right? I can't do traditional TSP contributions for that additional catch-up. I can't do a traditional IRA. It would have to be through Roth so that they get those taxes at that point. Now remember, if those Roth contributions are qualified, which means that they're in there for at least 5 years and I don't pull any money from that until I'm over 59 and a half, my earnings are tax-free, but I do have to pay taxes on the principal that I'm putting in there. Savers credit is being expanded effective December 31st of 2026. There is a little known law that does allow contributions from the federal government into lower income people's retirement savings accounts. Underutilized for most regards because a lot of people don't know about it, but it's been out there for a long time, and it does allow the government to contribute up to $2,000 to these retirement accounts. What's happening is that that's being expanded, and now they're saying if you are married and you're filing a joint tax return, the two of you make I thought it was $71,000, and I'm sorry I don't have that right off the top of my head. Again, this is brand new stuff that's just coming out right now. Let me look. Yeah, 71,000. So on my slide it says 7, and I knew that was too low. A married couple filing a joint tax return making 71,000 or less can now get the contribution to retirement under the savings credit up to $1,000 each. And the final thing that is changing with the spending bill as far as retirement goes is for our part-time employees to be able to contribute to retirement savings accounts sooner than they can right now. Right now, in order for me to contribute in my employer's retirement account, I have to have worked at least 500 hours a week for at least 3 years, and then I can start contributing to that retirement account. They are decreasing it from 3 years to 2 years. It still does require 500 hours of work per year, but it will now be 2 years instead of 3 years. Okay, there's a lot, and I know I went through that really quickly. There's still a lot of stuff that I need to digest and kind of dig into and research. I'll be sharing that information with you as I uncover new things or potentially see things being implemented in different ways than what it looks right now. This was just signed yesterday, as I said, by the president. If you have any questions about any of the changes, whether they are in the new spending bill or they are just 2023 changes that are coming in regarding your CSRS, your FERS, FERS-RAY, FERS-FRAY, Social Security, Medicare, or any of your federal insurances, please let me know. You can do that in the comments below, or you are always welcome to send me an email at debbie@pinnaclepersonnelservices.com. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope that this year is finishing on a high note for you and that you have some tremendous goals set up for yourself for this coming year. Take care, everyone.